goal apiece. Elsewhere in Europe, also in Group E, comfortable win for Sevilla, so they're ahead of that group. A Yedder hat-trick in that particular game. Comfortable win too for Napoli. Manchester City, they struggled, lots of chances, but again, eventually wrapping it up with Sterling in the last minute following De Bruyne's earlier goal, which was a cracker. You'll see them all later, of course. Besiktas, they're still playing because of a floodlight failure for 10-12 minutes in that game. In fact, I'm just hearing the game has finished and Besiktas have won that game by 2-0. Monaco, not quite the force they were last season. They've lost half their team. It's showing. Porto beat them by 3-0. Dortmund 1, Real Madrid 3. There are always going to be goals in that game. 2 for, well, guess who? Ronaldo. And 1 for Gareth Bale. You'll see those later as well. And in the final game, Tottenham, good win away from home against Apoel. 3 goals for Harry Kane, his 6th hat-trick in 2017. Let's remind ourselves of how tonight's match between Liverpool and Spartak Moscow have affected that group. Well, Sevilla are now top with 4 points. Liverpool have a bit to do, of course, with only 2 points from their opening 2 games. We all have opinions. It's the beauty of football. Managers sometimes agree, sometimes they disagree. But there's all the stats for you. Plenty of possession for Liverpool. Look at that, 16 shots to 4, 6 on target. But we all know the only stat that really counts is that it's 1-1, and Liverpool are leaving themselves much to do with their, I suppose, their profligacy in front of goal, really.
Yeah, that'll be the frustration, the major frustration. There'll be one pleasing point that will come out of this game, and they're creating the chances. They're getting in there. They're being a nuisance to their opponents. They're not letting them breathe. They're suffocating the opponents at times in terms of regaining possession as soon as the ball turns over and then putting them under pressure again. But you've got to finish teams off at this level, because if you don't, teams get an opportunity on the score, and especially if your keeper isn't producing at the other end. I know he's trying to protect his goalkeeper maybe a little bit there, but I don't think the keeper is someone you can protect in this instance.
I suppose we spent most of the pre-match analysis worrying about Liverpool's defence, and this was actually the only occasion in the game where we needed to worry. But
I think they were pretty good. They weren't under pressure too much during the game. Chan puts them under pressure himself. Too many touches on the ball. We mentioned that at half-time. He gets caught on it. Defend the first one okay.
Klopp didn't think this was a free kick.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of did, and I think he's dived in. Maybe not. I mean, we need a closer view of it there, and I understand his frustration. But the important part, once a free kick is given, I mean, as Rio said, I think he's defending his goalkeeper who he's chosen, selected tonight. I think when he watches it again and looks how the ball bends towards the middle of the goal, I think he's going to expect his goalkeeper to save that. I certainly think so.
If I'm in that team, I'm turning around and I'm fuming. I'm asking what's going on, because you'd expect your keeper to be able to save the ball. It's not even right in the corner. It almost goes middle of the goal once the ball hits the net, and that's where the frustration would lie. Yeah,
we haven't got another replay of the incident. You know, the host broadcaster didn't give any replays of the particular foul that Klopp was complaining about, and from that original footage, it's hard to say one way or the other, really, isn't it?
I think so. I mean, the first impression, it looked as if the attacking player got a touch on the ball first, and then Coutinho came and swiped his leg, so it looked like a foul. But you know, we'll never know until we saw it a little bit closer.
We probably won't. I mean, Coutinho turned things around at the other end, whether it was a foul or not. But one thing for sure, it was a beautiful bit of football from him.
It was what he's all about, and Rio sort of touched on it at half-time, the way he slows his man down, and this is exactly it. You can do everything at 100 mile an hour if you want, but sometimes you've just got to stop the defenders and use your instant acceleration, and that was just brilliant play. And a great finish. He opens his body up as if he's going to hit it into the far corner and almost just pulls it last minute high and over the goalkeeper. It's a brilliant goal. It's a typical Liverpool goal, typical Coutinho goal, and you just wish there was more finishing touches like this throughout the game.
It's like he just upped the levels in the game, didn't he? The game was just running and all of a sudden he said, "You know what? There's going to be a gear change." Upped it, and they couldn't live with him.
Yeah. I mean, he had a good game, didn't he, Coutinho? He was often the person that was things.
I think sometimes he plays a different game to everybody else. His passing, his weight of pass, his awareness of to play the right ball for the right run. He was at the hub of a lot of these creating chances that we talk about, but at the end of the day, you need people there to finish them.
It certainly didn't. It wasn't that day for Liverpool. I mean, they had a multitude of chances. I mean, we've got an example right throughout the game of times that they were in front of goal and just couldn't get it past the goalkeeper.
No, and some are better than others, I suppose. Daniel Sturridge was sort of had a couple of them at the end in the first half. We've just seen that that header from Salah. This is, I think he should be in front of the defender there. Little run, he's just waiting, he's onside all the time, trying to
rusty.
get
Team out of all of them, but we watched before the game score 15 years ago, sorry mate, but he scored a hat-trick of pretty scrappy goals. And that's what they need today. People will talk about scrappy goals like that as an easy finish, but sometimes
there from there.
I'm sure the players in the changing room will win that coming through.
They're under a bit of, I mean, they've 2 draws.
I think they're fortunate in a group of fairly mediocre teams around them other than Sevilla, so I think they'll all get out of the group, but they've got to up their gears now because they've played a couple of games and not looked great over the 2 games.
You know, they've got Maribor in the next 2 games. You'd expect them to win both of those, and then obviously they'll have to probably end up beating Spartak Moscow at home, which...
that gets them through. I think they'll beat Maribor twice. They'll be confident and get through. As Rio says, the important stuff comes when they get through the group, if and when they get through the group, that they're facing big teams. They don't take those chances, and also they leave themselves open, like we were talking about before the game.
I think often you look at a team and you can see that when they're in a little bit of trouble, a crisis, etc. But you look at Liverpool, they're creating lots of chances, and when you're doing that, it gives you half a chance, doesn't it?
Yeah, and when you've got goal scorers in your team, when you've got an attacking team, then you know you've always got a puncher's chance, haven't you? another
Well done. I didn't even mean it.
But you are, I didn't mean it, no.
We don't know if he's a puncher yet.
No. If you score goals, you've always got a right chance. So he's lucky in that way, Jurgen Klopp. They'll blitz a team 4-5. It wasn't long ago when they were playing brilliant. Okay, they've got average stats away from home in Europe at the moment, but that'll change. As the lad said, it's an average group. Liverpool will qualify through it. I'm just hopeful they qualify top as well, because that could be a big difference.
It could well go to the final game. It could go the distance, Rio.
Yeah, it could do, but like the lad said, I don't see them struggling to get through. I mean, this Liverpool team, I don't see them having aspirations or expectations to win this tournament. Because there's too many other better teams, I feel, but you'd like to get through, just for your ego, for your pride, to get through another opportunity to play against some of the greater teams in the tournament.
Yeah, at this stage, really, it's just sparring, isn't it, Frank?
Exactly, sparring. You go all night. No, I think, you know what my fear is with Liverpool? I really like watching them. We're all saying that. We all agree on that point, but I do think they open up. And at the time you see Moreno playing so advanced, you know, both fullbacks are pushed on really high. They do leave themselves open. Now, it's brilliant to watch. It's great football. Sometimes going away in Europe, and we said, Chelsea, we were known for it very well when I played. We would sort of bore a 1-0 result in the group. You go home and you carry on with the league and you qualify.
More pragmatic method.
I think so. Listen, I'm not telling Jurgen Klopp. I think we appreciate his sort of front-footed style. But in those games, sometimes, you know, be a bit more sure. They would have created those chances about finishing them, and then you get through the group and then you move on.
The problem is, unless you can mix it with the big boys, Barcelona and Real Madrid, unless you're better than them at football, then you have to have a B game, and that B game is probably what you did in the Nou Camp when you won the Champions League. You just accept that Barcelona are a better footballing team, and you just have to play a defensive game. But I don't think Liverpool, I don't think Manchester City.
That'd be a hell of a game to watch, wouldn't it? Barca-Liverpool.
It'd just be a shootout, wouldn't it?
But it's up to the manager to have the kind of humility to say, you know what, let's take a different stance on this game because of the opposition we're playing, and we'll wait to see if Klopp has got that.
But you didn't expect him to do that today. I mean, they didn't do a lot wrong other than not stick the thing in the net.
I don't think he needed to do that today because they're playing against a fairly mediocre team in comparison. So I think Liverpool done a lot of good things today, and then what would be the bonus that he would take out of it, that we are creating chances. Creating chances is just the being cold in front of goal, like these two guys were beside me. If they had a guy like that in the team, I'm sure they'd have won by.
It can sound like you're being negative. We're looking for things. Listen, they score their goals, the game comfortably, the group is a breeze, and that didn't happen. But we're looking at their attacking play. You go away. Do you change your style to be harder to beat and get the right result that might get you through?
We've just been sent an alternative look at Russia. Thanks for that. And I would say that looks a little bit like a foul, wouldn't you? Or anybody else like that. Apologies to Jurgen Klopp at this point. replay, he'll agree, and he might even agree it was a goalkeeping error.
I'm not sure.
But he won't, obviously not to